Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
Up to the 70s, Manila still had its charm. It had an old world charm that it does not have now. Now, pardon me, it's a dump.
This money follows where it can reproduce itself. And so most of that money transferred elsewhere to Makati. And so
Downtown was Avenida Rizal, and of course, Escolta. Escolta was the rodeo drive in Manila in those days.
Iba't ibang kultura nagpahalo-halo sa isang arkipelago. Yan ang Pilipinas. Hanggang sa mga panahon ito ay nanatili pa rin ang mga impluwensyang ito. Lahat ng mga gusali at mga naglalaki ang negosyo nito ay tumungan ng buwang pagkikirap ng mga dayuhan. Ngunit ito rin ang isang naging dahilan ng paglaho ng mga lokal na negosyo dito sa ating bansa. Samahan niyo ako at tuklasin. Nasaan na nga ba ang mga lokal na negosyo dito sa Pilipinas? Nilibot ko ang sentro ng mga negosyo sa Kalakhang, Maynila upang hanapin ang kwento ng mga matatanda. Dati raw ay maunlad ang lokal na komersyo dito sa Pilipinas. Yaon ng mga panahong mas malakas ang bentahan ng mga Pilipino kaysa sa layuang mga negosyo. Kung ngayon ay Makati ang may tinatawag na CBD o Central Business District, noon naman ay may tinatawag na Venice of the Orient at Wall Street of Asia sa Maynila. Sa natatanging lugar din ngayon sa Maynila, nagsimula daw ang mga nooy maliliit pang negosyo na ngayon naglalakihang korporasyon na sa Pilipinas. Sinubukan naming ikumpara ang paglalarawan ng mga matatanda sa Maynila noon sa kasalukuyang kalagayan nito. Di daw tulad noon, ang mga sikat na pasyalan noon ay makikitaan din ng mga magkalat na lokal na negosyo na pagmamay-ari mismo ng mga Pilipino. Pinuntahan namin ang Roxas Boulevard at Makati, dalawa sa mga atraksyon noon na hanggang ngayon ay napanatili ang kagandahan at kaunlaran. Ito ang Roxas Boulevard ngayon, dating pinangalan ng Louis Boulevard, pagkatapos sa Amerikanong admiral na si George Louis, na tumalo sa buong dagat ng Kastila sa Battle of Manila Bay noong 1898. Noon, puro niyog lamang ito mga kinatitirikan ng mga gusali dito. Ngayon, halos lahat ng mga kainan at mga hotels dito ay dito mo lang matatagpuan. Pati lahat ng mga gusali ng mga ahensya ng mga gobyerno, dito na rin sila nakatayo. Kasama na rin ang US Embassy. Sa mga gusaling ito sa napakaraming negosyo mga nakahilera dito sa Roxas Boulevard. Pancake House, Starbucks Coffee. Ngunit sa isang kalahating araw na ating nilibot ang Roxas Boulevard, wala pa tayong nakikitang lokal na negosyo na tinayo mismo ng mga Pilipino. Ngunit di tulad noon, halos wala kang makitang lokal na negosyo na nakapila sa kahabaan ng Roxas Boulevard o sa mga katabing lugar nito. Kasunod naming pinuntahan, ang Makati. Matagal ng business district ang Makati. Sa Makati lumipat ang mga negosyanteng naapektuhan ng pagbabago sa ekonomiya at pangangailangan sa infrastruktura. Lubos na naapektuhan ito ay ang Venice of the Orient at Wall Street of Asia. Bukod sa nagsilbing himpilan ng mga naglalakihang kumpanya sa Pilipinas, narito din ang pangunahing pasyalan na mapaglilibangan sa Maynila. Matatagpuan din dito ang mga malls na may tindang nagmamahal ang pangalan, pamula sa bags, damit at relo.
Hindi lang nagsilbing business district ang sentro ng Makati, naging lugar na rin ito ng libangan. Partikular na ang mga hardin sa loob ng malls.
Ngunit wala dito ang hinahanap natin. Kung sabi natin, ang dalawang historian at tour guide dito sa Pilipinas upang malaman ang dahilan ng unting pagkawala ng mga negosyo sa kahabaan ng Escolta at Recto. Ano nga ba ang itsura ng mga lugar na ito noon at dahilan ng unti-unting pag-alis ng mga negosyante sa lugar na iyon? Isinilang sa kahabaan na ito ng Santa Cruz, Avenida at Recto ang mga unang lokal na negosyo sa Pilipinas. Hindi lang ng mga tayuhan, kundi kabilang na ang mga merkadong pamumuhay-ari ng mga Pilipinong negosyante. Nakilala ang lugar na ito noong unang digmaang pandaigdig, panahon ng pamamahala ng mga Amerikano. Mula itong naibangon mula sa pambubomba ng mga Hapon noong kasagsagan ng ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig.
That was downtown, and downtown was Avenida Rizal, and of course Escolta. Escolta was the rodeo drive of Manila in those days. The very best establishments were found in Escolta. You had cobblestone streets, which they stupidly took out to put cement it. But you had everything there. You had Rebolida, La Estrella del Norte, Berg's department stores. You won't familiar with it. Lyric and Capitol Theaters. You had Seidel's. You had Botica Boy, wonderful place, and so forth. All the wonderful stores were in Escolta and then Avenida Rizal. In Christmas, you would have vendors selling chestnuts, crates of grapes and imported fruits in the 1950s. We still had foreign exchange for that sort of thing. Avenida Rizal had the bookstores, Alimar's, Goodwill, Ascaraga, you had Popular, you had all the best bookstores in Manila, you had all the movie theaters. You had restaurants, of course it was Chinatown.
I have a question. Had you been along Avenida Santa Cruz? Recto?
I was just there today. Just came from there.
Yes. I want to ask, had you been there when the time Filipino businesses are still there and it was still very much alive? What it's like?
I remember when I first got here, Avenida was also an interesting place because you could go to the shoe shops and you could still buy shoes from the 70s. The kinds that had the really big, thick soles on them, the stuff that you would see in magazines from the 70s that was just really outrageous. You could go into Goodwill bookstore and find beautiful old postcards of the Philippines that must have been from the 50s and 60s. Avenida had a lot of charm. I was really happy to see when Lito Atienza turned it into a pedestrian mall. And I was horrified that one of Mayor Lim's first actions was to bulldoze it.
Yes.
To give you an idea of prices, movies were 1 peso 20 centavos. Okay. That's for orchestra. They had a balcony upstairs where couples would go up and watch a movie from the balcony. That was 180, and if you wanted to be those comfortable seats at the low balcony at the front, something called loge, which was 240. So it's twice the price of orchestra. Up to about 1963, you could smoke in the theaters. The result was, if you went to a theater, you breathed all that secondhand smoke, and you came out smelling like cigarettes, because it was in those days, you could enter with the first showing at 9 o'clock, and there were no reserved seats. So you can sleep there, enjoy the air conditioning, and stay on till the theater closed at 11 at night, if that's what you wanted. It was like a mall. You went there, and except you would breathe all the poisonous air.
Sa Avenida Rizal o sa mas kilalang tawag na Rizal Avenue, naninirahan ang mga mayayaman at tanyag silipunan. Naririto ang mga teatro nagpasikat sa mga aktor ng nakalipas na henerasyon. Dito ulang nagpasikat ang mga tanyag na komedyante at artista noon, kagaya na lamang Dolphy, German Moreno, Nestor de Villa, Ida Blanca, Armando Goyena, at si Gloria Romero. Isa sa mga teatrong ito ang Ideal Theater, na dinisenyo pa ni Pablo Antonio at itinayo noong 1933. Matapos ang pagsuko ng mga Hapon noong 1945, pinagpatuloy ni Antonio at ni Juan Nakpil ang pagdidisenyo ng ilang pang teatro sa lugar na ito. Kabilang na dito ang Galaxy, Escada, at Lyric Theater na dinisenyo ni Antonio. Sinakbil naman ang sa Capitol, Ever, at Avenue Theater.
Each movie theater, the first run films in Manila, and only first run films, which are only in Manila, not in Cebu, Davao. Each theater had its producer. For instance, Ideal showed only MGM movies, so Ben Hur, Dr. Chicago, whatever was an MGM movie was shown at Ideal, and only at Ideal for first run. For second run, after it was finished at Ideal, it might be shown in other theaters throughout the country. The result was, depending on how popular the movie was, it could be running for 1 year, because only one, unlike now, if 50 theaters are showing 4 at the same time, if you wanted to see that movie, it's MGM, you only had to go to Ideal. If you wanted 20th Century Fox, you went to Ever. If you wanted Universal, you went to Universal. You wanted Warner Brothers, you went to Avenue. You wanted United Artists, West Side Story, you go to Odeon, and so forth. Each one has its contract with a studio. That studio system is broken down in America, and it consequently has broken down here. It's several things. Partly it's because of migration to Makati. So it was abandoned by businesses as businesses moved to more prosperous markets like Makati. Partly it was the incompetence of the elected officials of Manila, who just let their economic base collapse. Basically, those were the reasons. As things, but you know, that wasn't just happening in Manila. That was happening in all cities of the world. People were abandoning the central part of the cities and going to the suburbs. And I mean, you will hear the 70s of Manhattan, of Central Block of Times Square, the 70s and 80s being drug infested, porn places collapsing. But when you had a better mayor, you had a better leadership, they were able to turn it around. Now I just hope they're able to see that to turn things around. But you can't turn things around in 3 years. Nobody can. only God can. I don't think God is going to be elected mayor of Manila soon.
Are there any reasons why Avenida Santa Cruz Recto turned to be a filthy avenue?
Well, I think putting the LRT right above it was a good start on making it a mess, because now it's dark.
Yes, and I believe Filipino businessmen lose their businesses because of it.
Well, partly that, but also look, you got to Makati. If you asked the question of what were the things that influenced the architecture of Manila. Well, one of course was the destruction of the war. The next one was the rise of Makati and siphoning off all of that money. And so, the smart money follows where it can reproduce itself. And so most of that money transferred elsewhere to Makati. And so the used to shop at expensive shops in Escolta, even as recently as the late 60s, early 70s. That may sound like a long time ago to you. It's not that long ago.
Subalit, pinagsisikapan ng Maynila na ibalik ang sigla sa Escolta sa pangunguna ni Carlos Aldran, Tourism Advisor ng Maynila. Nagsasagawa ang mga artist ng kanilang exhibit at fair sa kahabaan ng Escolta. Meron din mga tour guide na nagtuturo ng kasaysayan nito. Naway magtagumpay ang kanilang adhikain. Balang araw, maitatapat na natin ang Escolta sa Times Square at Shibuya sa Tokyo. Hanggang sa muli.